There are compliments women hear every day. You're beautiful. You're smart. You're amazing. And sure, she'll smile. Say thanks. Maybe even blush. But let's be honest. Those words don't stir anything deep. They're safe. Predictable. Forgettable. Most men say what's easy to say. But if you want to stand out not as another guy she met, but as the one she remembers, you have to go deeper. You have to speak to the part of her no one talks to, the part that longs not to be seen, but to be truly understood. The right compliment doesn't just flatter her. It reaches into something primal. It lingers. It makes her think about you long after you've left the room. These are not compliments she hears at work or on Instagram. They're rare, powerful, almost forbidden. And once you learn how to say them, with calm presence and masculine precision, she won't just crave your attention. She'll crave your presence, your mind, your voice. But here's the catch. Compliments are a double-edged sword. Say the wrong thing, and you come off weak or fake. Say something too common, and it disappears from her memory before the night ends. But say something rare, something that hits her emotional core, and suddenly you're not like the others. You become the man who sees what others don't. And that is unforgettable. That's where Stoic power comes in. A Stoic man doesn't flatter to earn approval. He speaks only when it matters. His words have weight, and that weight draws her in without trying. In this video, I'll show you 3 forbidden compliments that awaken her mind, her soul, and her deepest feminine pride. If you're tired of surface-level games and ready to build real, magnetic attraction, hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Let's dive in. Compliment 1. Her unique perspective. Most men only compliment what's obvious. Her beauty, her outfit, her body. They notice what the eyes can see. And stop there. But here's the truth. Any man with working eyes can admire a woman's looks. It takes a different kind of man to recognize the way she thinks, and even fewer to value it out loud. See, women rarely get praised for their intellect in a way that feels real. Wow, you're so smart doesn't mean anything to her. She's heard it before. It's shallow, generic, empty. But when you pause, really listen to how she processes things, when you notice how her ideas flow, how she connects dots no one else does, how she says something you didn't expect but needed to hear, that's when you step into a different category. You become the man who sees her not just as attractive, but as interesting. And that is powerful, because the truth is, no matter how confident a woman appears, she still wonders, does anyone notice how I think? Does anyone even care? And when you're the one who answers that silent question, when your compliment goes beyond appearance, it doesn't just make her feel admired. It makes her feel understood. That's a feeling most men never give her. And that's exactly why she won't forget it. Why does it work? Because it touches the one place she protects the most, her inner world. You're not admiring her for what she presents to the world. You're appreciating the lens through which she sees it. And in a world that constantly objectifies women, being recognized for her mind is not only rare, it's sacred. Here's how you do it. The next time she shares an opinion, especially one that's layered, thoughtful, or unusual, don't rush to agree. Don't nod politely just to seem supportive. Instead, let there be silence. Look her in the eyes. Let your attention rest fully on her. And then say something like, "That's an incredibly unique way to look at it. I've honestly never met anyone who connects ideas the way you do." Then stop. Don't over-explain. Let the words breathe. Let them land. Because you're not just giving a compliment, you're handing her proof that someone truly sees her. Not her lips, not her dress, but her pattern of thought, her originality, her curiosity, her intelligence. This isn't flattery. This is precision. This is emotional awareness with masculine control, and it hits her in a place few men even aim for. The beauty of this compliment is that it invites her to show more of who she really is. Once she realizes you respect her mind, she'll want to reveal more of it. She'll want to challenge you, open up to you, share things she hides from the world. She'll stop performing and start connecting, because, for the first time in a long time, she's not being looked at. She's being recognized, and recognition, that rare, honest moment when someone sees beyond the surface, is what makes a woman crave more, not just of your compliment to her inner strength. Let's be honest. When was the last time someone truly complimented a woman on her strength? Not her smile, not how sweet she is, not how graceful she looks in a dress, but her ability to stand still in a storm. It's rare, because most men are conditioned to notice beauty, not resilience. They'll say, "You're cute when you're mad," or "You're such a sweetheart." But how often do they pause and acknowledge what it takes to hold it together when life gets heavy, when everything's falling apart, when there's chaos in her world, yet she shows up calm, composed, and unshaken? That's not just admirable, that's power. Most men miss it. But the Stoic man, he sees it, because he recognizes strength in its quietest form. The world constantly tells women they need to be soft, to be loved, but you show her that strength is what truly makes her unforgettable. This compliment doesn't chase attraction. It offers recognition, and that hits differently. Why does it work? Because you're not focusing on how she looks. You're speaking to how she endures. You're acknowledging her inner discipline, her ability to stay centered when others fall apart. You're not praising charm. You're honoring character. And here's the thing, even if she doesn't say it out loud, every strong woman wants to be seen beyond her surface. Not just as someone pretty, but as someone powerful, as someone admirable. When you're the man who gives her that mirror, one that reflects her courage, not just her curves, you awaken something fierce inside her pride. Not vanity, not ego, but the quiet pride that says, "Finally, someone sees the weight I carry." And here's what makes this even more potent. When you compliment her strength, she'll lean further into it for you. Because that's what real recognition does. It reinforces identity. It sharpens self-respect. It deepens the bond between two people who speak the same emotional language, one of calm, clarity, and respect. So how do you deliver this compliment? You wait. You don't say it to flatter. You say it when it's earned. When she tells you about how she stood up for herself at work, how she cared for her family while battling her own emotions, how she navigated anxiety but still showed up with grace, that's your moment. Don't cheapen it with cliches. Don't say, "That's impressive." It's not enough. Instead, look her in the eye and say, "Most people would have cracked in that situation. But the way you held your composure, that takes serious strength. That's rare." Then stop. Don't crowd the silence. Let it land. Let her feel the weight of being truly seen, not for how she performs, but for how she prevails. You'll notice something shift, not just in her posture, but in how she looks at you. Because in a world full of men who chase softness, You respected something few. Even notice her emotional backbone. And that's magnetic. Respect is the bridge that leads to connection. And connection built on respect is unshakable. This compliment doesn't make her like you. It makes her remember you. Because you didn't approach her with empty praise, you gave her something most men can't: recognition of who she is when no one's watching. That's Stoic awareness in action. You observed, waited, and spoke with intention. You didn't rush to impress her. You waited for truth to show itself, and when it did, you honored it. Not every man sees strength in silence. Not every man respects calm under pressure, but the man who does, he's the one she holds in a different category. Compliment 3, her impact on others. There's a kind of compliment that doesn't just touch the heart, it touches the soul. Not because it flatters her appearance, but because it affirms something far deeper, that she matters. Not just because she's beautiful, not just because she's fun to be around, but because her presence alone changes the energy of the room. Most people never say this to a woman. They might tell her she's charming. They might say she's nice. But rarely does someone stop and recognize the ripple effect she creates just by being who she is. This kind of compliment isn't about surface-level attraction. It's not about how she dresses or how she laughs. It's about impact, influence, presence. Why does it work? Because it elevates her in a way very few compliments can. It doesn't just make her feel appreciated. It makes her feel important. It tells her she's not just someone you enjoy. She's someone who shapes the experience for others. She inspires. She lifts. She anchors. Without effort. She makes the people around her better. She doesn't need to try. It's something she radiates. A kind of quiet power that few ever name. And that's the key. She may sense it in herself, but when you're the man who sees it, who says it, you become someone different in her eyes. Because what you're really saying is, I see the energy you bring into this world. I feel it, others feel it, and it matters. Every woman, every human being, wants to know they matter. Not in a loud, self-centered way, but in the quiet assurance that their life has meaning, that they leave something behind in every space they enter. And when you recognize that in her, especially when no one else has, you're not just giving her a compliment. You're giving her a form of validation that touches identity, legacy, soul. So, when do you say this? Not when she's showing off, not when she's trying to get attention. Say it in the moments she isn't even aware she's being powerful. When you're out with her, and notice that people laugh more when she talks, when the vibe in the group lifts because of her presence, when she encourages someone without even thinking, or says something that makes others feel seen, accepted, or lighter. That's your cue. Don't wait for a spotlight moment. Wait for the subtle shift. Then lean in and say something like this: you know what I admire most about you. You make people better just by being around them. You don't even try to do it. It just happens. And that's something rare. Then pause. Don't over-explain it. Don't follow it with a joke. Let it sit. Because what you've just said isn't casual. It's a mirror. And when she looks into it, she'll see a version of herself most people overlook. And she'll associate that awareness with you. You didn't just admire her. You understood her. You respected the influence she carries without trying. And in a world where many men chase beauty, you honored something deeper. You acknowledged her effect. That's unforgettable. A compliment like this doesn't fade. It sticks in her memory. Not because of how you said it, but because of what it revealed. It told her, you don't need to perform to be powerful. You already are. And once she knows, you see that, she'll feel safer, more open, more connected. Because she wasn't just heard, she was recognized. And that is rare. Bonus compliment 1, her inspiration. These aren't just compliments. They're not meant to impress or flatter on the surface. They're emotional precision tools, words crafted to go beyond attraction and reach a place in her that most men never even notice. But here's the truth. They only work if they're real. You can't say them to manipulate. And you definitely can't fake the weight behind them. Women are far more perceptive than most men assume. She'll know instantly if you're performing to win approval, or if you're genuinely seeing her, not just her looks, but her courage, her influence, her energy. And when she senses that you see her in ways no one else has, you don't just make her feel complimented, you make her feel significant, valuable, remembered. That's when a compliment becomes connection, not fleeting, but lasting, not shallow, but transformative. Because here's what most men still don't understand. Women don't crave compliments. They crave resonance. To feel like they matter. Like they're not just beautiful, but that their presence means something. That who they are and how they show up in the world has an emotional impact on the man they care about. So when you look her in the eyes and say, you know, the way you carry yourself, the strength behind your softness, it actually makes me want to be a better man. You're not praising her. You're honoring her. You're placing her in your circle of influence, acknowledging that her essence moves you forward, shapes your thinking, inspires your discipline. Why does it work? Because it touches a primal truth that every person, man or woman, wants to know they matter, and not just for what they look like, but for the invisible waves they create when they walk into a room. The next time she tells you about something bold she did, a challenge she overcame, or a dream she's chasing, don't just say, "That's cool." Stop, look at her, feel it, and let the truth rise in you. Being around you makes me level up. She won't forget that, not because it made her feel pretty, but because it made her feel powerful. And there's nothing more unforgettable than a woman who realizes she awakened the greatness inside you. Bonus compliment to her radiant energy. This one touches something most men overlook. It's not about her words. It's not about her actions. It's about her atmosphere. Some women carry an energy so rare, you feel it before you understand it. She walks in, and the mood shifts, subtle, but undeniable. She may not even be aware of it, but she feels it. And if you're the man who notices that, who gives it a name, you've just elevated her from being admired to being felt. Why does it work? Because it speaks directly to her essence, the part of her that's rarely seen, rarely acknowledged. You're not complimenting her clothes or her smile. You're recognizing her emotional gravity, the way her presence alters the room. This kind of compliment isn't loud. It's quiet, confidential, almost sacred. The next time you're in a social setting and you see people light up when she speaks, when laughter flows more freely, or others lean in just to hear her, that's your moment. Look her in the eye and say softly, "It's wild how the whole energy changes when you're here. There's something about you. It's hard to explain, but impossible to ignore." Say it like a truth, not a line. She'll never forget it, not because you flattered her, but because you saw her not with your eyes, but with your awareness. And for a woman, that kind of recognition is unforgettable. These compliments aren't about impressing her. They're about touching something real, something deeper than beauty, Most men settle for shallow praise, but a Stoic man, he speaks to her essence, not with flattery, but with precision, not to win her over, but to reflect what he truly sees. When you tell a woman, "You inspire me," or "The room shifts when you speak," you're not just making her smile, you're making her feel powerful, respected, noticed in a way that's rare, and in a world full of empty compliments. That kind of recognition becomes unforgettable. These are the compliments that stay with her, not because they're clever, but because they're real, because you said them without expectation, just truth. That's what separates a man who seeks attention from a man who commands it. So, if you found value in this video, if it gave you clarity on how to connect with women in a deeper, more authentic way, hit that like button, leave a comment with your favorite compliment, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next insight that could shift your mindset forever. Thanks for watching, and remember, speak with truth, and she'll feel it in her soul.